Before we begin this evening, before we begin
Hey, everybody, make sure you use your mics tonight.
Good evening, everybody. We'll call to order the Planning and Zoning meeting for January 27th, 2026 at 6 p.m. This will be my first meeting as chairman, so please afford me a few mistakes that will possibly happen, but I'll do my best. Roll call: Adolphus Gaither, Sonora Jackson, Travis Parr, Glenda Brown,
Here.
Curtis Mullins, and one vacancy. All right, this evening we have one board reappointee, I believe, Miss Glenda Brown.
Yes, sir. The mayor will read the oath of office for Ms. Brown if you want to step up there and take it.
Hey, Ms. this is not the first time you've done this.
No, sir.
I'll say I, ask you to say your name, and I'll read through the rest of this. I won't ask you to repeat it. At the end of it, you can say I do.
Yes, sir.
I, raise your right hand, please. I
Linda Brown,
do solemnly swear or affirm that, keep your hand up. I will faithfully execute the office of member of the City of Social Circle, Georgia Planning Commission, and to the best of my ability, support and defend the Constitution of the United States, the Constitution of Georgia, and the charter, ordinances, and regulations of the City of Social Circle. I'm not the holder of any unaccounted for public money due this state or any political subdivision or authority thereof. I'm not the holder of any office of trust under the government of the United States, any other state, or any foreign state which I, by the laws of the state of Georgia, am prohibited from holding. I am otherwise qualified to hold said office according to the Constitution and laws of Georgia. I have been a resident of the City of Social Circle for the time required by the Constitution and laws of this state. I'll perform the duties of my office in the best interest of the City of Social Circle to the best of my ability, without fear, favor, affection, reward, or expectation thereof. So help me God.
I do.
Congratulations.
Yes, sir.
Okay, we'll get this signed.
Ms. Glenda, I'll get you to sign it afterwards.
Okay, thank you.
I have a blue pen back there too. Thank you. Yes, I gotcha. Okay.
All right, with that appointment taken care of, if the board could review the minutes from last December 18th meeting. Take a few minutes there and see if you see anything that is out of place or incorrect. And if nothing stands out, I'll accept a motion.
I make a motion that the minutes stand approved as read if there should be any corrections.
I second.
Second by Douglas. All in favor? Raise your right hand, or left hand, whatever hand. All right, took care of that. All right, this evening there are, I think, 2 items on the agenda for public hearings. Before we go through those, if, Ashley, you want to play the rules of the road for that?
Before we begin this evening, I want to just hit the highlights of the regulations that need to be considered during this meeting. Foremost, for the record to reflect any speakers who wish to respond for or against the application of any item on the agenda, each speaker must sign up to register their intent. If you do not register prior to the commencement of this meeting, you will not be called upon, and you will not be allowed to speak. Each item shall be handled in the order of the published agenda. However, upon motion of the commission, it is possible that the order of the agenda may be changed. Therefore, it is recommended that all interested persons remain at the meeting in the event of a change in the order of the agenda. As each agenda item is brought forth, the city staff will present the application, the background of the property involved, and provide a recommendation. After the staff has presented the application, the applicant or applicant's agent will give his or her presentation of the item. The applicant's time is limited to a total of 10 minutes. The applicant may designate any remaining time for rebuttal to any opposition to the application. All registered speakers who wish to speak in favor of the application will then be heard, and will also be limited to 10 minutes total, not each. Once the applicant has made his or her presentation to the board, and the pro-applicant speakers have been heard, the chair will then call upon registered speakers who wish to speak against the application. The opposition shall likewise be limited to 10 minutes total, not each. After the public comments have been heard, the Planning Commission members will then discuss the request among themselves. Upon motion and second by the members of the commission, an action on the application may be taken to approve with conditions. Approval with an alternative zoning district that is lesser than that which was advertised, or deny. These matters are sometimes hotly contested and can result in highly adversarial positions among the participants in attendance. This meeting is not the place for such discussions. Rather, this is a meeting to hear the facts and opinions as presented by all parties. Each public speaker will be called upon by the chair, and each speaker must address the commission. Any conversations between the speaker and other members of the audience not called upon by the chairman shall be deemed out of order. All speakers are expected to conduct themselves in an appropriate manner, and any involvement of personalities or the use of abusive or profane language will not be tolerated.
All right, with that said, Ashley, if you will present item number 1 on tonight's agenda.
Yes, sir. So the first item we have for review is a rezone at 165 and 191 Cannon Drive, also known as tax parcels SC 080141 and SC 080142, from residential medium density to residential district 15 to satisfy dimensional and plat requirements for the purpose of subdividing the property in order to create a third parcel of land. The applicant is trying to meet the dimensional requirements outlined in section 2.1.5 of the city's UDC, as well as the plat procedures outlined in section 6.2, so that these parcels can be subdivided in order to create a third tax parcel for the proposed residential use. There will be no adverse effect on the current use of the property as part of the proposed rezone, as the current uses on these properties are permitted in R15 zoning, and this would actually bring the properties into compliance as with the use of single-family detached homes. That use is not allowed in RMD, if you guys remember, under the UDC. It used to be, but it's not anymore. As shown on the proposed subdivision plat, which is Exhibit A under this agenda item, if the rezone were approved, portions of both 165 and 191 would be subdivided to create a third parcel, totaling at about plus or minus 0.34 acres. The proposed use, as mentioned earlier, on the newly created parcel would be a single-family detached dwelling. These properties are located within the historic district. Therefore, the developer would be required to apply for a COA, or certificate of appropriateness, and receive design approval prior to starting any construction on the property. Furthermore, the minimum heated square footage requirement for single-family detached homes is 1,600 square feet. Should the applicant or developer wish to construct a home of lesser square footage, they would need to apply for a variance and receive approval prior to doing so. Regarding public services and utilities, there would be no issues created to either as a result of the proposed rezoning. Just something to call your attention to under staff analysis, under compatibility, which is section B3, I did want just to call out that this law is currently technically an existing non-conforming use due to the, like I mentioned before, the single-family detached dwelling on the property in RMD zoning, which used to be allowed, now it's not. I don't know if you guys remember, we did that citywide rezone where we took all the vacant RMD lots and we asked property owners permission to rezone them to R15 to allow them to build a couple years ago when we passed the UDC. So this would also help bring this into a conforming use. Staff recommends approval of the request to rezone from RMD to R15.
All right, with that said, is the applicant here? Would you like to speak?
You did an excellent job explaining everything
Thank you.
very well. And just to give you a little background information on why we're here, we had a house on one of the properties and it caught fire and it was a total loss. So we cleared that house off and have cleaned up the lot and made it better looking for the neighborhood. So we just would appreciate your consideration on this. And my name is Vicki Williamson. I am one of the property owners. So.
Can I get your address?
Yes, it's 725 Bellmead Road, Monroe, MONROE, Georgia, 30655.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. With no one signing up to speak against, we do have someone here to speak in favor of, Mr. Wayne Johnson.
My name is Wayne Johnson, and I'm speaking in favor of this because, just for background, I actually am the developer of the Cottages of Monroe, which is a 52-unit, seniors community up in Monroe, Georgia. It's been very successful. And I just came last week back from meeting with the Secretary of Housing and Urban Development, and there's a great big movement under the country to increase the density of zoning. It's the only way we're going to be able to address the housing crisis that we have in America. So I think this is an R15, which means 15,000 square feet per. But as you go forward in your planning for the future of Social Circle, I sincerely hope that you'll be looking at a little bit more density with some high-quality units because it will bring a lot of economic value to Social Circle, bring a lot of livability to Social Circle. And I was happy to see this. The only thing I would have requested if it had been me is for 4 units instead of 5 units. But thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. Anyone else who would like to speak that may not have signed up? Okay, with that, we will close the public hearing. All right, now we lean to the board. Any discussion, questions, comments? Does anybody think about any issue? It kind of makes sense to me. Just based on the what's in the surrounding area already. So, well, no discussion. I will entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to, accept the rezoning from RM residential medium density to R15.
Make sure to use your mic. Sorry.
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
I make a motion to approve the rezoning from RMD to R15.
All right, got a motion to recommend approval.
I second the motion.
Second, Ms. Jackson. Any more discussion? All in favor, raise your hand. And it's unanimous. All right, on to item number 2. Ms. Ashley.
Okay, so let me get to my staff report here. Sorry about that. Okay. This request is for a variance from section 2.1.5 of the city's Unified Development Code to allow for an impervious surface ratio that exceeds the maximum amount allowed for properties zoned as light industrial at 3470 Social Circle Parkway, Building 100, also known as tax parcel SC 2300006. The overall intent behind this request is to subdivide the property into three separate parcels. This property previously received variances back in 2022 concerning parking requirements, building materials, and landscape buffers, if you guys remember that. As shown on the proposed conceptual plan, which is Exhibit A under this item, the property would be subdivided in a way that would put its impervious surface ratio at approximately 50%. However, the maximum amount that is allowed for the properties zoned as light industrial under the current code is 40%. Please note that Exhibit A does display the property being subdivided into 3 separate parcels. The applicant has indicated that their request is solely for the northern portion of the property, which is Building 100, that has already been developed. Staff has explained to the applicant that should their request for variance be approved, it would only apply to that portion of the property, and any future developments would either need to receive a separate variance or meet the dimensional and developmental standards outlined within the UDC. this property is not located within the watershed protection overlay district. It's actually just across the street from it. And no other variance of this type has previously been approved or recommended for approval. The applicant has also not indicated as to whether or not there would be any changes to the intended use of the current development or the newly created parcel as part of the requested variance and proposed subdivision of the property. As the property currently sits with the warehouse use, there is water and sewer availability in the area. However, as far as the capacity that is needed to support uses on the properties, that would be dependent upon what the proposed use or uses would be. We also received a minor subdivision application after this variance was applied for. So we did have to advertise this variance, but we received a minor subdivision application that can go through the administrative process that did meet the 40% impervious surface ratio. However, we did administratively deny that minor subdivision. We had our attorneys look at it as well, and they offered an opinion. And if we want to discuss that further, Mr. Powell is here for any questions regarding that, but we did go ahead and administratively deny a subdivision that they requested that did meet the standards. So I also wanted to call out that this really does not meet the criteria for a variance. There aren't any extenuating circumstances. When we look at variances, we have to look at those specific criteria. So for that reason, staff recommends denial of the request for a variance to allow for an impervious surface ratio that exceeds the maximum amount allowed in light industrial.
I have a question. You mentioned a review in regard to they met the 40%.
Yes.
Subdividing.
Yes. So they ended up applying for an administrative plat subdivision, and that met the standards. So it didn't match what they were showing here in this application. They just wanted to get on the agenda, basically. So they ended up putting in an application. We had to advertise, we accepted the application, all the things. And then they went ahead and submitted that, and we denied that just this past week based off of several things that we have to look at when we're looking at these subdivision plots, one of which being, infrastructure availability, whether or not it's going to be something that we can do. And on the plot, they had listed that it was still a warehouse, and we don't necessarily believe that to be the case anymore. So we were able to administratively deny that minor subdivision.
Okay, I guess I'm just wondering, this one, they're requesting to go 50%, but the one they presented you came in at 40.
Correct.
What was different?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay, is the applicant here?
I don't believe so.
Okay. Is that a scratch out?
I think that's a scratch out, yeah.
Okay.
I would just call for anybody.
Is anyone here, is there anyone here to speak in favor? All right, we've got a couple names signed up to speak against. Mr. John Miller. Is he present? Oh, there he is.
John Miller, 20 Lakeview Avenue, Social Circle. First of all, appreciate the information from city staff. That's very helpful that they also agree that this should not be approved. Variances are supposed to be approved or applied for when there is a hardship that cannot be overcome by a particular property owner. That's a hardship that's created by the code that isn't necessarily in the applicant's control or design or ability to design around. I can't see any fathomable reason why that is the case here. We've already gone through this process with this particular project when it was approved the first time, pretty thoroughly and pretty controversially, I might add. So we've already been through this process with this particular property. There's no reason to do it again. And quite frankly, I was interested to hear about the administrative denial as well. But I think everybody in the room kind of is already aware of what's happening with this particular piece of property. And I would like to make sure that it's known that it's frustrating that the applicant is not here to speak on their behalf, because we would once again ask them to engage with our city and our leaders to discuss the issues with this particular property, especially if they move forward in the direction that they've indicated or it's suspected that they're going to. At the very least, there are very real and dire consequences of a project like this moving forward, that they owe it to us to sit down and have a conversation with us. So I appreciate staff's recommendation. I wholeheartedly hope that you guys will heed their direction in this particular case. Thank you.
Good evening. I'm James Evans. I live at 1845 Darrell Drive. Thank you for the opportunity to get up here and speak tonight. I'm stunned. Mr. Miller just mentioned the applicant didn't even show. Wow, that tells me a lot to begin with, but I'll go back and just say a few other things. That when P&K took over this project from the original developer Longleaf in August of 2022, I was at the meeting here. And when Mr. Osborne presented it, there was a lot of discussion that was had with the variances that he was asking for, or rather demanding. And he got to the UDC, the setback and everything else. He talked about keeping the trees and being conscious of the water that's on the property. P&K, when they took over the development, they should have been aware of everything that was taking place prior to this. And if they didn't pick up on that, well, shame on them. All I know is that since the development took place, the property owners adjacent to this parcel have had a lot of problems with runoff, sediment in their lakes. I believe complaints have been filed against the Georgia EPD about what has taken place. Increasing the impervious surface, I thought was going to 50%. I just now learned it. You know, they're now going to change that to begin with. But I think the development is wrong. It's been granted for the building 100. Mr. Miller talked about the possibility of something else taking place there. We'll see how that pans out. But no changes, no further changes need to be given to this property as far as I'm concerned. I hope that you all share my thoughts on that. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you, Mr. Evans. Anyone else here that would like to speak? Yes, ma'am. How much time do we have on that?
We have 6 minutes and 53 seconds left.
Hi, my name is Kristen Bryant. I traveled here from a different county. First, I would like to say this is not my backyard. I don't care. It doesn't impact me personally, but I did travel here to speak to you tonight against this development. It is one of the new proposed ICE facilities where they're wanting to, quote, the borders are, Tom said, we need to get better at treating this like a business, like Amazon Prime, but with human beings. I am here to speak against this, and there are a lot of people in the entire state of Georgia that are coming together to fight against this. And it's not in my backyard reasons. However, I can give you plenty of those. I can tell you your law enforcement, how are they gonna handle when something breaks out at this facility? If there's a fight, How many police officers do you have? I know that I sent letters trying to recruit police officers across the country. So that will also be an issue. If a fight breaks out, if protesters come from out of state, you're going to have to call other people in. Is that fair to the people of Social Circle? How is it going to impact your funding, your taxes? And I think it speaks, we all know there's a reason he didn't take the time to show up tonight. Thank you so much for allowing me this opportunity to speak to you.
Thank you, Ms. Bryant.
Ms. Bryant, can I get your address for the record? I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's not in Social Circle.
That's okay.
Can I give it to you, like up here?
Yeah.
It's 501 Brickleberry Ridge. Do you want my phone number?
No.
Okay. I'll think
Okay. That's all.
With no one else, if no one else,
Oh, over here.
I'm sorry. Yes, ma'am.
We have 5 minutes and 6 seconds.
My name is Ann Newhurl. That's Neuhierl. I live at 60 Ivan Circle in Covington. I'm here as a Newton County representative simply because there has been a pattern of things just this side of the line of Newton County becoming part of our responsibility for water and sewer. And I think Social Circle has rightly stated that they will be overwhelmed if the population density increases by what is rumored to be going to happen with an ICE detainment center. We're struggling in Newton County to cover what we need to, and I just don't think it's a good idea. I don't think anyone in the community of Walton County or Newton County supports detainment of human beings against their will without due process. My moral duty was to stand up here and speak against it today. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Three minutes, 41 seconds.
It won't take me that long. Glenda and I know each other, and Adolphus and I. I've been here in Social Circle since 1957. I was born in 51, and I moved to Knox Chapel, 70 Knox Chapel. My last name is Goldthwaite, Goldthwaite. First name is Cindy. So I started first grade here in Social Circle, and I am a former teacher in the high school. I was an ELA teacher. I'm here on behalf of the children. I'm thinking about school buses going by that area because they come out towards me on Knox Chapel, and they are also at the new elementary school up there. If I were a parent, I would be appalled that this situation would be, half a mile maybe from that new school. And just the image of that little 5-year-old boy, Liam, that got kidnapped, detained, whatever you want to call it, standing there as a lure for his parents, remains with me. And I've subbed a good bit in the lower grades as well as the upper grades. And I know it would affect them greatly. So aside from all the physical things, which I think have been well spoken, the sewage and all the things that are really not in that building, right? And I know Social Circle's already struggling with water, excuse me, and other services. I can't morally in any way support this on behalf of the children of this community, because it will scar them. Thank you for letting me speak.
Thank you, ma'am. With that, we will close the public hearing. And move to the board. Any discussion? Understood. Fortunately, that's not what we're here for, but we'll try to keep it within the paperwork parameters. The one thing I see is this, it's an issue of where the property line is and where what they're asking for is not, it's not detriment, I mean, it's not impossible, so I don't think it's necessary. That's my opinion. Yes, ma'am.
Microphone, please. Microphone.
The question I was asking is, wanting to put some apartments or home, what was they was wanting to add that's not on our paper?
They weren't wanting to add anything. They were just so on the screen here it shows the way the property is split. The building that's already there would take up 50% of the lot. They submitted a different application to staff to administratively review that met that 40% standard, so they wouldn't have to ask for a variance, and we denied the minor subdivision. So we have already denied the reason for them asking for this variance, for various reasons that we informed the applicant of on Friday, and they received that, but they didn't withdraw their application, and it was advertised, so we're here having the public hearing.
Any other discussion?
Self-explanatory.
I will entertain a motion.
I would like to make a motion that we deny this application.
All right, we have a motion to recommend denial. We have a second. Any more discussion? All in favor, raise your hand. Unanimous. All right. Do we have any new business to go over?
We do not. We don't have any applications for the February meeting. So if the chair will allow this board a break, we can go ahead and cancel the February meeting.
First meeting, I get to call a vacation?
Yeah.
I can do that. All right. With that, I'll take a motion to cancel February's meeting.
A motion that we cancel our February meeting, please.
I second the motion.
Second motion, all in favor? And with that, Planning and Zoning meeting is adjourned.
Thank you.
Thank you.